held, several meetings have been held. As a result, I think on your tables, you have the product of those tasks. You have a handbook written 2022. You have a security guide for 2022. If you've been involved in ESAP before 2022, you know it was called the roll card. And I'll be explaining as I end why it's been moved from a roll card to a security guide. And thirdly, you have a training manual. What you also do not have is you then have master slides to ensure that the training that's going to take place after this is consistent. Allow me to very quickly, and if you look at the handbook, which is the source document, it is structured into 8 chapters. Because everybody can read, I do not intend to take you through the 8 chapters, or even what each of them contains, just to ask you, please enjoy reading. But please allow me to mention the key changes that have happened in the ESAP document between 2017 and 2022. What's different, and why should you have this version and not the older one? I think firstly, and all of us know, the legal framework continues being improved every electoral cycle. We did not have, for example, a Data Protection Act in 2017. We now do. The Political Parties Act has just been amended. The process of amending the Elections Act is ongoing. So if only for any other reason, we needed to update the documents to take into account changes in law, but also to take into account the decisions that have been made from courts. If you look at the documents you have for the first time, we refer to some of the decisions that the courts have made in terms of election security, so that we learn lessons from them. The second is there is greater focus on 2 things in terms of the legal framework. There's greater focus on the constitutional underpinning for election security, and there's greater focus on unpacking the provisions of Section 105 in terms of the linkages between IEBC, NPS, and other stakeholders in terms of election security, to underscore the fact that Kenya has adopted a mixed model approach to election security. The third change, which is important, is unlike 2017, there's a greater focus on risk management and preventive measures as opposed to punishment after people have committed election offenses, out of the lesson that it's better to prevent than to cure. There's a new focus on vulnerable groups and the impacts that insecurity has on them as part of the election process. And I'm sure Madam Anne from RPP will be extremely happy about that focus on vulnerable groups. The guide, which was called the roll card, has been revamped to move it away from a roll card for election security personnel and a roll card for election officials that Dr. Kamindo spoke about, to deal with the role of every stakeholder on E-Day and at the polling station. Lastly, there's an elaboration on the required resources and the logistical arrangements required to implement the election security arrangement program. So that's the highlight of the documents that you have before you, and the essence is to ensure that there's greater collaboration, there's greater clarity, and there's greater engagement. After this launch, the process of trainings will start, the process of communications will start, and the process of public engagement will start. So thank you very much, and I hope that we'll have a good launch, and looking forward to the rest of the process. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Let us give the speakers a better hand of applause. Thank you, Dr. Catherine Kamindo, for your remarks, and thank you, Professor Collins Odote, for the overview of the Election Security Arrangement Program, ESAP. Allow me to invite the Commission Secretary and CEO of IEBC, Mr. Marijan Hussein Marijan. Tumpigie makofi. Thank you.
Thank you, Tabitha. Our chief guest, Mr. Nurdin Haji, Director of Public Prosecutions, our chairman from the Commission, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, Vice Chair, Madam Juliana Cherera, Commissioners present, Commissioner Justus Nyang'aya, Commissioner Wanderi, and Commissioner Irene Masit. A representative of the Inspector of General, DIG Mr. Mbugwa, the DPP for Ghana, I understand she is delayed, a representative of the Chief Registrar of Judiciary, UK High Commissioner, in absentia, Madam Jane Marriott, Chair of Council of Governors, His Excellency Martin Wambora, who I understand also is not here, but in absentia. I want to recognize him. The Senate JLAC Chair, Honorable Okongo Omogeni, who is also not around but represented. Honorable Muturi Kigano, JLAC Chair, who is represented by Honorable Shamala. The Chair of NCIC, represented by one of the commissioners. The Registrar of Political Party, Ms. Anne Deritu. The Deputy CEO for IEBC, Madam Ruth Kolundu. IEBC staff, invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, development partners, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Thank you very much, first of all, for taking your time to come and be with us in gracing this occasion. It is actually my pleasure to be here with you this morning during this launch of the Election Security Arrangement Program, dubbed ESAP. As you are aware, the election integrity demands an atmosphere that is free from fear, intimidation, or manipulation throughout the electoral cycle. Security during electioneering period is critical, especially during voting, vote counting, and transmission of the results. A peaceful election environment facilitates a free, fair, and credible election and avoids security problems that could otherwise compromise the integrity of records, turnout of voters, as well as election results. Voters must therefore be able to vote without fear, and election monitors must be able to observe without intimidation. Candidates must be able to campaign without the fear and that their supporters will be killed or harmed. To ensure integrity, electoral administrators need to be able to plan and conduct elections without interference, and election materials must be safeguarded from tampering to change the election outcome. Providing security at polling stations must involve intense cooperation with other law enforcement agencies, involving the security sector agencies and other actors in planning for the electoral process. Ladies and gentlemen, as part of prevention and mitigation measures against risk of insecurity, the Commission engaged the National Police Service in 2013 and 2017 general elections. The ESAP program aims at coordinating security among the various actors to make the electoral process safe and secure, as well as the operating environment. The Commission operates in. One of the remarkable improvements in current documents is the special place of vulnerable people. The Commission has paid much attention to women, youth, minorities, people with disabilities in the election. Improve election security will no doubt motivate and encourage these groups to participate effectively in the elections. Ladies and gentlemen, the Commission has adopted various strategies with the police to improve security coordination during the electioneering period. One of those strategies is training of the police, IEBC staff and other stakeholders on the electoral process and their responsibility in election security. As a focus area. The prevention and mitigation of electoral violence, which consists of a handbook, training manuals, and security guide, as detailed by Dr. Odote. Ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I would like to thank International Federation for Elections for the support they have given us in reviewing the election security materials and for their support in this launch. The documents that we are about to launch today are meant to be used by all police officers and election officials. I also take this opportunity to appeal to the donors for more funding to print enough copies of these materials for training of trainers and supporting the cascaded training. Allow me now to take this humble opportunity to welcome our Vice Chairperson of
the chief guests, Director of Public Prosecution, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, representative of the IG, National Police Service, representative of Judiciary, representative of UK High Commissioner, representative of the COG of JLA, HRC, Senate, representative of NCIC, Registrar of Political Parties, the CEO of IEBC, Deputy CEO, IEBC staff, and indeed, Constitution of Kenya 2010, in Article 81, gives us the general principles of an electoral system, that it should be free, fair, with no intimidation, violence, or corruption. And it is on the basics of this Article 81 that IEBC has partnered with other stakeholders to ensure that election security is realized. For IEBC to ensure that election is free, fair, and without violence, we rely on the National Police Service. And this is enshrined in Elections Act, Section 105, whereby the officers that will be given to man the polling station become elections officers. They no longer take instructions from where they usually take, but they will be subject to the presiding officer at that station and for that election. It is on the basis of this that the Commission has partnered with several, and this is what we call the multi-sector approach, whereby the first stakeholder has been the National Police Service. Then we've also been working with the Director of Public Prosecution, the Office of Registrar of Political Parties, the IPOA, Judiciary, National Cohesion and Integration Commission, the National Steering Committee on Peace Building and Conflict Management. So all these bodies forwarded their members to be part and parcel of the technical committee that has been working on these documents. The ESSA program has a structure which is chaired by the chair of IEBC and IG. And the same is cascaded downwards, whereby the vice chairperson of IEBC, together with the deputy IG, now form the policy head of ESSAP. There is a high-level committee whereby all commissioners sit together with the National Police Service and deliberations are made. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to take you through the steps that has finally made us to sit here to launch the document. The technical committee has been meeting, and the first meeting was held on the 5th of September 2021. And this is when the new commissioners first joined. And in this workshop, the team reviewed the documents of ESSAP 2017 general election, and they made recommendation of the steps that should be taken to fill in the gaps that have been there, and also to find a way forward. They also reflected on the lessons learned, and the participants were taken through the legal framework that enshrines this program. After that, on the 22nd of October 2021, a high-level meeting between IEBC and National Police Service was held, and the technical team presented their work plan to get the headship blessings, which happened that day, and they were set out to have several meetings to ensure that the document is finally reviewed and training will take place. So they had 5 workshops to deliberate on things to be changed, things to be improved, and the gaps to be filled. And today they have come up with the following documents that are on our table that is the Handbook on Election Security, the Training Manual on Election Security, the Security Guide, and the training slides. On the 28th of February 2022, this year, a final meeting was held, a high-level meeting, again, between IEBC and National Police Service to finally consider the documents, and further recommendations were made. And I want to stand here today to say indeed it has been a consultative process, and the recommendations have been absorbed in the document that is before us, and Professor Odote has mentioned them. After we launch this program today, we are going to a very important activity, that is training. We will train the trainers at the national level. We cascade it to the regional, the county, sub-county, and to the lowest level we can go. Thank you, the CEO of IEBC, for speaking that to our donors, that we welcome them to come forth to help us in ensuring that we train to the very lowest level that we have in this country. So finally, today, as we launch this document, I want to thank sincerely all the agencies that participated in this process, and allow me to just make the technical team that was involved in this to stand up. At least get to see them. Technical team, where are you? Let's give them a round of applause. Thank you very much for the immense work that you have done. Asanteni, karibuni nyote.
Thank you. You will agree with me that the speakers have given us a lot of understanding on the election security arrangement project, and their content was very well articulated. Let's give them 3 factorials. Okay? Let us prepare, warm our hands, and give them 3 good factorials. Thank you very much, the Vice Chair of IEBC, Madam Juliana Cherera, the CEO of IEBC, Mr. Marijan Hussein Marijan. You will allow me now to invite our distinguished guests to come and give brief remarks, and we will follow the order of the program. Allow me to invite Madam Anne Derito, who is the Registrar of Political Parties. Welcome, Anne. Let's give a hand of applause.
The chief guest of this event and occasion, the Director of Public Prosecution, the Chairman of IEBC, the representative from all institutions that were involved in this work in terms of development of those manuals, and the whole program of ESAB. The consultant of this program, Professor Collins Odote, the IEBC staff led by the CEO of IEBC and the commissioners. I also want to appreciate all the people who sat down to work, especially the directorates involved, the donor community, and all other persons represented in this meeting. I want to start by really congratulating IEBC and the team that was working in this document for the work that has been accomplished, and also the continuity of this program. As it has been said, this is a program that has been there for more than 10 years.
Thank you very much, Madam Anderito, Registrar of Political Parties, for your remarks. Let's give a hand of applause. Thank you very much. Do we have NCIC Chairman representative? Do we have a representative from NCIC? Let's give him a hand of applause.
Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Chief guest, DPP Nuruddin Haji, Chair IEBC, Commissioners IEBC, all guests assembled here today. I will be very brief. First of all, I thank the IEBC, the technical team, for the work well done in putting up this program. Ladies and gentlemen, election security is a very critical issue, and that we need all of us as stakeholders to seriously bring our minds together so that this country is safe, this country is secure before, on, and after the elections. From where I sit, the electioneering period, the campaign period is very important. Where we lose is before the voting day. We harvest what we've planted during the voting day. So stakeholders need to come together so that we avert what contributes to violence on the day of voting. As you watch and listen to what is going on in the country now, the environment is already polluted. The Registrar of Political Parties has just alluded to that. What I call the red flags are all over. And that is what is added up to create the violence on voting day or on the day or the hour of announcing the result. Brothers and sisters, what you can hear from our politicians and their supporters is not healthy. NCIC is worried. The intolerance that we see is too bad. We've seen it in terms of verbal exchanges. We've seen it in terms of violence, up to including killings, bad language, insults, bad manners, zoning the country into regions, the bedroom stories, the mentioning of election rigging, where some politicians brag about. You see the hate speech, both verbally, on the microphone, social media, you name it. I mean, the list is endless. That is what will collect together to create or make people fight. If, for example, already you've told me that there will be rigging, what will happen to some Kenyans we know and how they think? Of course, there will be desperation. There will be desperation, and people will be saying that then why should I be voting if the election will be stolen? So our leaders have to be very careful on what they say. And I join this juncture, Madam Anne Ndiritu, that the customers and the owners of this process are not here with us. The politicians, the political parties, the leaders of the coalition parties, so that they tame their followers, they tame their supporters. Because this is not healthy for this country. As for NIC, we are overwhelmed. We can't tell what is hate speech and what is not hate speech. I mean, we can't count the incitements that are happening. So we need serious business on the issue of managing what comes before the voting day. The voting day is a very small exercise. The cumulative effect is what will create chaos in this country. Finally, I believe if all agencies did their work as required, we will not have gathered here today for this subject. These problems exist because agencies are not doing their rightful work, their mandate. They are not exercising their mandate. If every agency or government agency was doing its bit as required by law, we will not have been assembled here investing in this project today. So I beseech all of you, all stakeholders, all agencies, to take up your mandate as required. I'll give you a good example. There was the hot issue of the stoning of the chopper of Raila Amolo Odinga. When that group was being assembled, was being trained, was being funded, was being trooped to the site, transported, and all manner of arrangement was put in place. Where was the intelligence to avert that? There we go. You think the intelligence was not aware of that? If the intelligence was not aware of that, then it's a lapse in our security system. There is lapse in our intelligence system. The same way, we had the kennel issue, where people went into a church with all manner of, violence, and even there was killing. We didn't know about that. We didn't have an intel earlier. So this is where we go wrong. So ladies and gentlemen, it's not going to be business as usual. This subject is a very hot one, and let's all join hands so that we save our dear country, Kenya. Remember, politicians do not care about this country. All they care about is their re-election. Whether it comes through blood or what, so long as they are elected, they will watch you on TV killing one another. And that's the end of the story. So let's wake up. Thank you very much, and God bless you.
Thank you so much, Commissioner Abdul Aziz. Let's give him another hand of applause. Thank you for representing Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia, Chairman of NCIC. I now welcome the representative of JLAC National Assembly, Honorable Shamala. Let's give her a hand of applause.
Good morning, everybody. The chief guest, I recognize your presence, Mr. Nuruddin Haji, the DPP, the chairman of IEBC and the commissioners, the chairperson's National Cohesion Integration Commission, Inspector General of Police and his representative, Registrar of Political Parties, chairperson of Independent Police Oversight, on the representative of the British High Commission, all protocols observed. Ladies and gentlemen, I first want to convey the apologies of my chairman, Honorable Muturi Kigano, the chairman of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee, National Assembly. He has been called to the constituency and has to deal with extremely urgent matters. It is my pleasure to appreciate the recognition by the IEBC as a stakeholder in the election process, culminating into this invitation. Indeed, the National Assembly, its membership, is a key holder of the Commission, and more so at this time when elections are around the corner. And I do want to reiterate that politicians do the larger part of politicians care for this country, and they do not want to see this country burn. We have always stated and appreciated, legislators are the greatest beneficiaries of matters election as they come into office through this process. In respecting the will of the people and appreciating the democratic right, then a free, fair, and just process must and has to be in place. Therefore, a key prerequisite to conducting free, fair, and credible elections is a secure and peaceful environment where voters express their will freely without violence, threats, intimidation, or coercion. However, elections are always charged and emotional due to the high stakes and the polarizing nature of electoral competitions. Thus, it does have the potential of engendering conflict, which can then result in violence. The drums of violence are already beating if the isolated but regrettable incidences of violence meted out at the Azimio La Umoja presidential candidate in Eldoret is anything to go by. Other incidences have been reported in isolated areas across the country targeting various politicians, and security will be of paramount importance moving forward. Unfortunately, some of us have long assumed that violence is necessary for political change, and that can never be true. There is a misconception that the survival of the fittest means the survival of the most aggressive. We should all condemn senseless violence instigated by some leaders in pursuit of their personal political agendas. It is therefore expected that in holding free and fair polls, the IEBC must be adequately prepared in aspects of election security, coordination, and managing the security aspects of the 22 general election. In launching the ESAP manual, it is evident that IEBC is promoting the link between election security and election management, which is crucial in present-day Kenya to stem the repeat of the 2007 post-election violence, which we shall never forget. We also appreciate the objective of ESAP, and it is my hope that through this program, The worthy collaborations will be embraced among all stakeholders to promote and ensure security and peaceful campaigns, conducts of credible investigations, and timely prosecution of offenders, and ensure. I wish to applaud the multi-sectoral approach to ISAP. The participation include IEBC, National Police Service, Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the UNDP, the UWINO Secretariat, National Steering Committee on Peace Building and Conflict Management, the Independent Police Oversight Authority, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties. Your valuable contribution to a peaceful electioneering period is highly appreciated. I only wish to remind the stakeholders to be vigilant and play your distinct and mutual part in the election system to ensure that all goes well as desired. No one, not in Kenya, outside of Kenya, is desirous of the 2007-2008 post-election experience. Thus, we should all commit to the provisions of a peaceful, fair, and credible election. In conclusion, let us not allow this country to burn. Rather, let us embrace a process that will see elections as part of a broader political framework that promotes good governance, the rule of law, the equal participation in politics by all actors devoid of status. I wish you nothing but the best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shamala of the JLAC National Assembly. Let's give her another clap. Thank you for the clarion call. It's Honorable Okongo Omogeni, or a representative. Do we have? Allow me to invite the CEO of IPOA, Mr. Elema Alake. They are also part of the ESAP committee. Let's give him a hand of applause.
The chief guest for this event, Director of Public Prosecution, the Chair IBC, development partners present, colleagues, good morning. Good morning. I want to take this opportunity to thank everyone who has been able to come here and say that the Independent Policing Oversight Authority has been part of this process and have made significant contribution to ensure that that this ESAP program speaks to matters of oversight. And as IPOA, we recognize that this is a process which requires all stakeholders' approach to realize free, fair, credible elections. And as IPOA, we are keen to support the National Police Service and IBC to ensure that the police do their work professionally and observe the human rights standards as they enforce the ESAP program. So ours is to commit as an authority that will continue to support IBC and also support the National Police Service to ensure that we realize this very important event, national event, and ensure that we play our role as required. We want to thank you very much, and thank you very much. Sante.
Thank you. Thank you very much, CEO of IPOA, Mr. Elema Alake, who is accompanied by his director, Mr. Mogambi. Let's give them a hand of applause. Thank you. Allow me to invite the CEO of Council of Governors, Madam Mary Mwiti. Karibu sana.
The chief guests of the day today, the DPP, Mr. Noreen Haji, the chair, Independent and Electoral Commission's boundaries, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, representative of the High Commissioner of UK, representative of the General Police Service, representative of National Assembly, representative of NCIC, representative of IPOA, ladies and gentlemen, I stand here as the CEO of the Council of Governors to represent the chair who would have loved to be here but was engaged in a very urgent assignment this morning. So please, the chairman and the chief guest, I convey the apologies of the chair of the Council of Governors. And as a messenger, allow me to deliver his message to this congregation. First, hearty congratulations to the IEBC team as you launch the Election Security Arrangement Project manuals. It is indeed my pleasure to grace this occasion, and I take this opportunity to extend my most sincere gratitude to the IEBC for allowing me to be part of this extremely very important exercise at a time like now. By way of introduction, the Council of Governors is a nonpartisan organization whose main functions, among others, is to promote visionary leadership, sharing of best practices, provide collective voice on policy issues, and promoting inter-county consultations. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, the Constitution of Kenya 2010 provides that our electoral system shall comply with the principles of free and fair elections, whereas the primary responsibility lies with IEBC to ensure that elections are peaceful, free from any forms of fear, threats, violence, influence, manipulation, or corruption. All other actors are duty-bound to complement these efforts. The success of the electoral process can only be guaranteed through a coordinated and collaborative multi-sectoral approach. The key stakeholders include the National Police Service, who by dint of Section 105 of the Elections Act are required to cooperate with IEBC and take all necessary measures for the maintenance of law and order for conduct of elections. The service is expected to provide election security in a collaborative process that involves many stakeholders. The other actors is the judiciary, the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions, the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, the Office of the Registrar of Political Parties, Independent Police Oversight Authority, National Steering Committee on Peace Building and Conflict Management, and civil society. And although not mentioned, the constituency that I represent, that is the chair of a Council of Governors, the county governors, and the people of Kenya at large. They must be part of this so that we guarantee peaceful elections moving forward. Ladies and gentlemen, electoral process, including security provision, is a sum product of many processes. The processes include designing and implementing mapped out activities, but importantly, capacity building for all actors. Therefore, the development of the instruments to guide the electoral process and the preparedness of actors in the ecosystem form part of important processes in ensuring credible elections. To the Commission, as part of your mandate, under Article 88 of the Constitution of Kenya, you have championed the Election Security Arrangement Project, which is a multi-sectoral program geared towards mitigating the risks of insecurity of electoral processes and managing the security aspects of the general election. I join you today on this great occasion of the launch of 3 key documents, namely, 1, the training manuals on election security, which will guide trainers when preparing and facilitating training on electoral security. Number 2, the Election Security Handbook, a practical, action-oriented, and a useful resource for election and security officials, peace actors, and law enforcement agencies. And number 3, the Security Guide, a quick reference for police officers and electoral personnel involved in election security. It provides the roles and responsibilities of election officials involved in provision of security during elections. The development of the instrument is a clear indication of the efforts and preparedness of the Commission and other key stakeholders in anticipation for peace and secure elections. I commend all the key players for the great efforts in putting place these documents this far. I wish also to extend my sincere gratitude to donors and partners through IFES who supported this worth cause. To the key actors, I urge that you play your respective roles as envisaged in the well-thought-through documents, as well as the legal or administrative instruments that establish your organizations. I further urge that you embrace continued collaborations amongst yourselves in order to ensure that the desired peaceful and credible electoral process. I wish to state that elections are a fundamental process in advanced democracy. As political leaders, we are alive to the fact that generations to come are dependent on our sobriety today. Therefore, as a Council of County Governments and as agents of peace in our respective counties, we commit to fully support the IEBC and other agencies through this electioneering period. We will preach and practice peace as Kenya's interests supersedes our own interests. Once again, I wish to congratulate the IEBC on the launch of the 3 documents and wish all the actors the best as you embark on training and target population in readiness for the elections. The country and the world at large is counting on all of us. Let us be found faithful to our calling. God bless, and thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mary Mwiti, for that very well articulated presentation. Let's give her another hand of applause. Remember to follow us on our Twitter handle at IBC Kenya, IBC Kenya. And there's photography and videography. We're also live on Facebook, so make sure that you have your best smile. Allow me to recognize the presence of Ambassador Chege, who is representing the PS, wherever he is sitting here. Thank you, Ambassador Chege, for being with us. I wish now to invite Mr. Nikolai Atchison from the UK High Commission. Let's give him a hand of applause.
Chief Guest Nuruddin Haji from the ODPP, Chair of the IEBC Wafula Chebukati, Assistant Inspector General of Police Mbugua, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Representative Ambassador Chege, representatives from the National Assembly, Senate, Judiciary, ORPP, NCIC, IPOA, Council of Governors, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Abadi Zenu. Kenya is an anchor of stability and beacon of democracy in this region. So I want to commend the efforts of the government of Kenya to build on the standards and the lessons learned from the 2017 election and to improve them further. We witnessed at the beginning of February the launch of the standard operating procedures for the police for election security, which is a complementary set of guidance aiming to reach every single police officer. And I commend in particular the collaboration between the security sector and IEBC. As we know, it's absolutely critical for effective election security. It's particularly critical for free, fair and peaceful, credible elections that all the key institutions collaborate. And I think you can see from the esteemed representation here today that that is happening at all levels, from the highest level to the working level. The police, national administration and IEBC staff across the country will number hundreds of thousands when it comes to election day. And so this guidance will help them to understand their roles and ensure they conduct themselves within the law. If everyone in the IEBC, in the security sector, media, civil society, and importantly, the tens of thousands of political aspirants and their supporters can understand well the law, then not only will IEBC officials and the police work as one, building confidence everywhere, but the behaviours of political aspirants and their supporters will be ever more in line with Kenyan law and contribute to a peaceful and credible election. And this can take Kenyan elections to ever higher standards, where women political aspirants feel safe and supported, where gender-based violence is prevented, where fairness and inclusion is safeguarded, and where democracy and accountability and peace and security thrive. So I congratulate you again and hope that you're able to reach the local level everywhere in Kenya to further deepen preparations in the coming months. On behalf of the international community, we stand with you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's clap for them again. We appreciate you, Mr. Nikolai Hutchinson, for your remarks. Allow me to invite Mr. Edward Mbugwa, who is the Deputy Inspector General, to give his remarks on behalf of the National Police Service. Let's give him a hand of applause. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Bud. Our chief guest, Mr. Nuruddin Haji, Director of Public Prosecution, the Chairman, IEBC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, Commissioners of IEBC, the Registrar of Political Parties, Commissioners, all invited guests, ladies and gentlemen, Good morning. I'm here on behalf of the Inspector General, National Police Service, and he's also the President of African Police. I was also invited in this meeting, but I'm going to read the speech from the Inspector General. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to join you today, the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission and the stakeholders on this important occasion as we launch the Election Security Arrangement Project manuals, which will be significant guiding security management during the general elections. Today's event marks the important milestone in demonstrating collaboration, cohesiveness, and inclusivity in stakeholders' engagement towards the 2022 general election preparedness. The conduct of free and fair elections is at the heart of a democratic process. The overall development of a country is significantly hinged on good political leadership and legitimate governance that derives from elections that are seen to be free, fair, and credible. As we all know, the National Police Service is a key stakeholder in the election process and supports the IEBC by ensuring that laws relating to election process are enforced and upheld. The mandate of the National Police Service is therefore to ensure that elections are conducted in a safe, secure, and peaceful environment, and therefore not gainsaid. For the record, the National Police Service has a long and tested experience in elections security management during both general elections and by-elections. We have therefore tapped on the institutional experience as we devoutly implement all legal requirements and processes ahead of the 2022 general elections. As such, to demonstrate our resolve in making comprehensive preparation in line with our election mandate, the National Police Service launched the Election Security Management Manuals for police commanders in February 2022. This manual is being used to build capacity of all security personnel, hence ensuring that police roles and responsibilities during election are carried out in a professional and consistent manner. The manual prescribed, among other, the principles of impartiality, equal treatment, procedures for complaints against election security personnel, accountability, the rule of law by the security agents. In addition, it provides for the application of multi-agency approach in mobilization of additional security partners to support the police during the elections. In view of the aforementioned, therefore, I wish to affirmably state that the National Police Service will continue to collaborate with IEBC during the election period to ensure that security challenges that threatens may compromise the conduct of the general election and effectively and efficiently managed. This includes monitoring public spaces and social media for hate speech messages in order to take appropriate action in collaboration with the National Cohesion and Integration Commission. In this vein, we therefore call upon the stakeholders to continue being goodwill ambassadors in promoting unity and peaceful coexistence. It is our collective responsibility to reject and denounce all forms of election-related violence in order to conduct elections in a peaceful, safe, and secure environment. As the National Police Service, our officers will act swiftly and investigate and prosecute all breaches of security and election malpractice during the election period in order to preserve the integrity of the elections and our country. No, I say again, the National Police Service, our officers will act swiftly and by investigating and prosecuting all breaches of security and election malpractice during the election period in order to preserve the integrity of elections and our country, peace and stability. While at this, we shall work closely and cooperate with the IEBC as prescribed by law. Finally, allow me to say that the National Police Service value the long-standing collaboration with IEBC and other stakeholders in administration of justice sector. We thus commit ourselves to continuously provide unwavering support with our mandate and to ensure the provisions of peaceful, fair, and credible elections. With those few words, I am honored to be a participant during this auspicious occasion as we officially launch the Election Security Arrangement Project manuals. Thank you. In addition to that, as a representative of the National Police Service, I would like to assure each one of you we are expecting a peaceful elections. Tunasemanga kelele ya chura haizuii ng'ombe kula nini? Kunywa maji. Kwa hivyo kelele politician watapiga, lakini sisi tunatarajia uchaguzi which is very peaceful. We don't expect 2017, 2018 elections. Be assured by us as a representative of the National Police Service. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Police Band, for spicing up this event. We really appreciate you. This project or this event is about assuring Kenyans of a peaceful election. And we want to appreciate Mr. Edward Mbogwa, who is representing Mr. Hilary Mtiambai, the Inspector of National Police Service. We want to appreciate you for that powerful statement. Let's give him another hand of applause. Thank you very much. Allow me now to invite the chairman of IEBC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati. Let us give him a heavy hand of applause. This is a very tough year. Let us encourage him. Let us clap for him as he comes on the stage. Thank you very much.
The chief guest, DPP, Mr. Nuruddin Haji, commissioners of IEBC, our distinguished invited guests, our development partners present, and all the staff of IEBC, good morning. I don't know whether it's afternoon yet. I just want to welcome all of you to this function. And let me start by saying that we are in this room today, not because we have nothing to do, but because we care about this country. The law says that IEBC shall manage elections and referenda and also deal with boundaries delimitation. That's what the law says. But we, as IEBC, cannot do this alone. And that's why all of you in this room, state actors, non-state actors, are here as of right because you care about this country. You have left your other duties to be here, and we, as a commission, we appreciate your presence, and we look forward to your support for you to work together with us up to the 9th of August this year and beyond. So let me say that most of the things in my written speech have already been spoken about, so I will not go into it. I will donate my time to our chief guest. But let me just say that coming on the 9th of August, as a commission, we undertook continuous voter registration and enhanced continuous voter registration. And right now we have a register of about 22 million registered voters. Now, we are cleaning up the register, and we hope this will be done soon. And then once we finalize, we shall hand it over to the auditors to do an audit, and then proceed from there to do the next process, which is verification of the voters' register. And in all this, come election day, we shall then have about 50,000 polling stations, but the polling stations will be determined by the commission once we have a certified register. Now, on the election day, we expect to have about 500,000 personnel. 500,000 personnel, which includes police officers. At every polling station, we shall have 2 police officers manning a polling station. I want you to picture that magnitude number, and I want to agree with Mr. Mbugwa that the police, we have worked together this journey leading up to the launch of these manuals today, and I've been assured by the Inspector General of Police that we have sufficient police officers to cover up all these polling stations. As you all know, and as I said, the Commission cannot undertake this exercise alone. We must work with stakeholders in accordance with the law. Section 105 of the Elections Act is very clear that institutions of government, when called upon, must support the IEBC to discharge the function of giving Kenyans free, fair, and credible elections and ensure that peace is maintained during the election period. So stakeholder engagement is a must for us. Stakeholder engagement in the National Police Service, stakeholder engagement with the DPP's office. As you all know, the Election Offences Act was placed under the DPP in the last amendments, and it used to be initially handled by IEBC, but it's now managed by the DPP. And as a commission, then, whenever issues arise, we investigate and hand over the file to the DPP. What was left for us was managing the court during elections. Sometimes last week, the High Court, meaning that as a commission, we can only investigate and pass over the mantle to the DPP, and that's why the chief guest will now tell us how he's going to manage all this, part of which we have been doing as a commission. And I think in the course of today, by the time he reaches his office, I will have forwarded the files of Moses Kuri and Sabina Chege to him to deal with. Because there's no vacuum in the law. Those who think there's a vacuum, you are so wrong. Continue doing what you are doing, but the law will catch up with you. We have collaborative stakeholder engagement with the DCI. The DCI is also working with us. We have officers of the DCI who support the commission, and they will be very, very useful to us when it comes to managing cyber crimes, and especially you all know that we have a technology which we're going to deploy for elections, and so these officers then will help us with the investigations. We have collaborative arrangements with ORPP. Madam ORPP is here. Yes, we work together very well, and we have issued timelines which also she'll be forwarding documentation of political parties to us. We have collaborative arrangements with the EACC. It will be handy in terms of clearance of candidates, and NCIC. We have to work together. Judiciary, we have Judicial Committee on Elections, which committee then we collaborate on how to manage dispute resolution, and more particularly the political parties disputes tribunal, which will be managing disputes arising from party primaries. So what am I saying here? That collaboration is key, and as a commission we work with other agencies, and we shall continue doing so, and so that we can secure this country and give it what it deserves, a peaceful, free, fair, and credible election. With those few remarks, let me then take this opportunity to invite the chief guest. I am sure you all want to hear the chief guest, what he has to say, and that's why we are here. Mr. Nuruddin Haji, please welcome. Thank you.
Thank you. Chairperson IEBC, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, the Vice Chair IEBC, Madam Cherera, Registrar of Political Parties, Ms. Anne Deritu, Independent Election and Boundaries Commission Secretary, CEO, Mr. Marjan, Representative of the Inspector General of Police, the DIG of Kenya Police Service, Mr. Mbugwa, the representative of the chairperson, JLAC, at the National Assembly, Honorable Jennifer Shamala, representative of the chairperson of JLAC at the Senate, representative of chairperson of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, Honorable Abdulaziz, who incidentally I was his mono. And I saw him pause a little bit before he mentioned my name. I think he was remembering the hot ujis I used to take to his, when he was bullying me. Chief Registrar of the Judiciary, Ms. Anna Madi, her representative, representative of the United Kingdom High Commission, CEO Council of Governors, Mary Mwiti, representative of the PS Foreign Affairs, the Honorable Ambassador, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. First on the onset, I wish to send the apology of the DPP Ghana to the chair. She was unable to make it here today as she had gone out of town for some work. She cannot make it on time, so I want to send our apologies. Honorable Chair, it's a great honor and privilege to join the IEBC today as you launch the Election Security Arrangement Project, ESAP manuals, which are aimed at enhancing our collaboration as partners from the administration of justice sector to facilitate a coordinated election security plan ahead of the forthcoming general elections in August 2022. I want to most sincerely thank Mr. Chebukati for allowing me to be part of this important occasion. I had asked myself why I was the chief guest, but it is very clear after he put me on the spot. So I'll be prepared for those cases, Honorable Chair, and I'll be eagerly waiting for the files. I just hope we have the evidence to prosecute. As we gather here today, we are cognizant of the fact that elections are not a one-day event, but a process which involves many steps preceding the election day, and that security is a constant variable in all these steps. A secure electoral process is critical to all stakeholders and also to our national interest. The launch of these EASP manuals comes at a moment when the electoral campaigns are getting intense, and many other times the fleeting emotions of the moment get the better of political players, resulting in threats to our individual or collective security. During such times, we are called to vigilance as justice sector actors, and a process such as this is key in keeping us engaged and alert. The purpose of this exercise is to ensure we are collaborating over time. Over time, we have built resilience, and this should not be seen as a failure, but progress. The different arms of government and institutions are able to come together and produce a concerted effort towards realizing a free, fair, peaceful, and just electoral process. While electoral insecurity remains a huge threat to the advancement of our security, it is not a threat unique to us. In recent years, we have witnessed electoral insecurity even in the most stable and developed democracies. And the lessons learned is that when institutions are deliberately disempowered and our worst impulses go unchecked, we become susceptible to electoral conflict and insecurity. Left unaddressed, electoral conflict and insecurity can be used as a political tactic to influence electoral outcomes, thereby undermining democracy. I want to differ with my senior, Honorable Abdulaziz from NCIC. We cannot fault the intelligence, as we are not privy to whether information was shared or not. Even advanced democracies and countries cannot boast to have actioned every intelligence shared. I am certain that information must have been shared, but events changed, and generally, intelligence is not a witch doctor looking, or an intelligence officer is not a witch doctor looking into a crystal ball. Once intelligence is shared, it's up to the various arms to take action. Intelligence is limited to those who need to know. And sometimes, even the ODPP is not part of the clients of NIS, for example. So we cannot say that intelligence was not shared. NIS, through its DG, has done a commendable job over the years, and I'm confident they will continue to do so. As Election Day fast approaches, all of us have the solemn duty to safeguard our electoral architecture and its attendant systems by guaranteeing the security of all persons involved in the various processes, including officials and most critical citizens, to ensure that the entire election process is free, fair, peaceful, transparent, and accountable. The launch of these ESAP manuals have paved the way for enhancing the capacity of all stakeholders through training and scenario simulations. And for this achievement, congratulations, Mr. Chair, and your IEBC team. By developing these manuals, the IEBC has deployed a strong tactic from its arsenals of strategies critical to effectively discharging its mandate. Indeed, these manuals resonate with our strategic commitments to focus and equip ourselves with the necessary tools at the ODPP and to mitigate any eventualities that may be detrimental to the credibility of the electoral process. Effectively executed, the manuals will enhance our vigilance and readiness to detect and prevent any security breaches pre, during, and post-elections. And I think we have the commitment from the National Police Service. As prosecutors, we laud the launch of these manuals and congratulate the IEBC for its commitment to adopting such robust, progressive, and specialized policies and strategies. The significance of security in the electoral process cannot be overemphasized, and complementary to the IEBC manuals, the ODPP has taken a number of deliberate steps towards ensuring this year's elections are in tandem with our common agenda to promote free, fair, and credible elections. We recently launched our compendium on election justice. In addition, we have established the Hate Speech and Electoral Justice Division and appointed 200 specialized prosecutors across the 47 counties and 129 court stations to expedite the prosecution of electoral offences. We have also institutionalized our Election Preparedness Committee tasked with coordinating research, data collection, collation and analysis of all election-related matters within the criminal justice sector. I also want to thank the Chief Justice for gazetting the specialized magistrates to ensure that they are in place to expedite prosecutions. Under her leadership, the NCAJ has come up with a number of programs towards electoral preparedness in the justice sector, which will soon also be undertaken and rolled out. Yesterday, for example, we finalized a 4-day multi-sectoral stakeholder training, which utilized local and international electoral experts from the justice sector. I know that our spirit of collaboration, coordination, and cooperation is strengthened and enhanced from the knowledge and skills gained during that training, and will further serve to complement the sector-wide objectives of the Election Security Arrangement Project manuals. As a country, the democracy we enjoy was a result of great sacrifices by patriots. And the honor we can bestow upon their struggles is to ensure that in our lifetimes, as we work and serve within the institutions represented here, the quest to continually improve and safeguard our democracy is among our highest aspirations. We enhance our democracy when we recognize the importance of continuous learning and the role of specialized training programs, plus institutional capacity building, and go ahead to collaborate to achieve this. We enhance our democracy when we acknowledge the reality of new and emerging electoral crimes and jointly strategize and partner to manage these threats to our democracy. We enhance our democracy when we recognize that electoral security is integral and inseparable to the conduct of a credible election and launch and implement this election security arrangement project manuals. We enhance our democracy when we ensure that as persons and institutions tasked with managing the electoral process, we carry out our duties in a non-partisan manner, with utmost integrity and with the highest fidelity to the law, thereby increasing citizens' confidence as they participate in this important civic duty. Finally, as prosecutors, Honorable Chair, I want to assure you that we will work hand in hand with the IEBC and other stakeholders to ensure that we enhance our democracy by affirming our commitment to prosecuting all electoral offences and collaborating to the full extent of the law. We shall always adhere to the rule of law. Honorable Chair, the Vice Chair and CEO, and the entire team at the IEBC, once again, I extend my congratulations for this accomplishment. On behalf of the ODPP and Kenyans, I want to assure you that our partnership and commitment to uphold the rule of law and enhance access to justice during this electoral cycle remains unshaken. Thank you once again, and God bless. I think in the interest of time, I will not have an off-the-cuff speech because we also need to rush to the mosque. Today is Friday. Thank you, Honorable Chair, for this opportunity. Should I say they are launched or? Yeah. Sorry? Okay.
to the booth there that is branded IBC colors. That is where we have the lounge booth. And also the IBC commissioners and our distinguished guests who gave us remarks this morning. My colleague Edgar Swani is there to assist with the arrangement. I also request the DCS, Madam Ruth Kulundu, and the Director for Research and Electoral Boundaries, where this project is domiciled, Dr. Catherine Kamindo, please move to the lounge booth. There are buttons that the chief guest, Mr. Nordin Haji, will press, and the booth is going to open, and we will see the documents that we are launching today. After that, we will have vote of thanks, and we will also have the national anthem to close the occasion. At the count of 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Thank you very much. We have our chief guest there, Mr. Nordin Haji, the IBC chairperson, Mr. Wafula Chebukati, Mr. Edward Boba, representing National Police. We have our Vice Chair, Madam Juliana Terera, our CEO, Mr. Marijan Hussein Marijan, the IBC DCS, Madam Kulundu, our distinguished guests, Madam Angelito, we have Nikolai Atitso, we have Mary Witty, and all the representatives that were with us this morning, our distinguished guests. Thank you very much. Thank you for honoring this historic event. Thank you for supporting IBC and supporting the country. We will just sit briefly and have a vote of thanks, then we'll close with the national anthem. Thank you very much. which is domiciled, Mr. Rasim Asubi. Let's give him a hand of applause. Thank you, Director, for making the happen possible. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Tabila. My work is simple: to give a vote of thanks to our guests. And I'll begin by saying, ladies and gentlemen, what we have done today is the easier part of the program. The real test is in the implementation. The Commission recognizes the importance of building capacity of its staff and that of the security officers for effective implementation of the ISAF program. As a result, first, activity after the launch is training. We plan to train a minimum of 250,000 personnel. It should be much more than that. To reflect the collaboration between IEBC and National Police Service. The joint training is in 5 levels, or in 5 levels. One, to be at the national level, that is national training of trainers. The TOTs will be drawn from both IEBC and the National Police Service. Level 2 will include regional clusters. These will involve the county elections managers and county police commanders. Level 3 will be county clusters. At this level,